Hello children, let us see the continuation of Coulomb's law, that is your chapter electrostatic continuation. So here he has taken two charges Q1 and Q2 separated by a distance r. So when the two charges are separated by a distance r, what he found that the force experienced, how much it is nothing but it is proportional to the product of the charges. That the first experiment he got. Second, what he got is nothing but it is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. What he found? The force of interaction between 2 point charges is directly proportional to the product of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Now just clock these two. So what you will get? F is proportional to Q1, Q2 by R square. Clear? So anything proportional will substitute by a proportionality constant. So hence I am substituting it. F equal to K Q1 Q2 by R square, this much of Newton. Clear? Now the question arises, this proportionality constant matters a lot. I hope all of you know. Every case it differs. Here also it has speciality. What is this proportionality constant? K is nothing but 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. What is epsilon naught? I'll tell you first simple example, then only easily you can understand. If you are going late, some teachers will allow inside it class. Some teachers will not give the permission. So what do you say? That mom is good, she is allowing. That mom is not good, she is not allowing. Someone is allowing good, some is not allowing. So based on that, the same concept is here. Epsilon naught is permittivity. How much that space or vacuum is allowing the number of lines of force to pass through it. That is called as permittivity. So what is your epsilon naught? It is called as permittivity of free space, or even you can call it as vacuum. Clear? How much your space or vacuum is allowing the electric lines of force to pass through it. That is called as epsilon naught. So if the value of epsilon naught is nothing but 8.854 into 10 to the power minus 12. What is the unit of it? Don't try to remember, you just try to write the expression. F equal to K is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. You want to find what is the unit of epsilon naught. So take it to left side. Epsilon naught equal to Q1 Q2 by F will come here. So 4 pi F R square. You know constant, there is no unit. So what is the unit of charge? Coulomb. So two charges, it is Q1 Q2. So Coulomb square divided by force unit is Newton, R square is meter square. So what is the unit of your epsilon naught? Coulomb square Newton inverse meter to the power minus 2. This is the unit of epsilon. Similarly, what is K? K is 1 by 4 pi epsilon. So if you substitute this value of epsilon, it will give you 9 into 10 to the power 9. What will be unit of K? It is just the reverse of epsilon naught. 4 pi is a constant. So what we will write here? Just opposite to it. So we will write it as Newton meter square divided by Coulomb square. Is this clear? I hope you understood. Now let us see about vector representation of Coulomb's law. Why? Because force is a vector. If it is a scalar, then we will limit only with the magnitude. But as it is a vector, so this is nothing but we got it, that is the mod of F, the magnitude of F. We don't know the direction of F. It differs. Why? Because if two charges you are taking as same, positive or negative, they will be repelling each other. So the vectors will, the force of move away. If it is of opposite nature, then they will try to attract each other. So your direction is differing or not? Am I right? So hence, let us see the vector form of Coulomb's law. Make the heading vector form of Coulomb's law. Same way, consider two charges. Let the vector associated with it R1, the vector associated with it is nothing but R2. And now when you want to find what is the force experienced by this charge Q1 due to Q2. So what you will write? F of 1, 2. Force experienced by charge Q1 due to Q2. It is equal to K is constant, charge also scalar, by R will be R1, 2 into R1, 2 cap. I hope you know R1, 2 cap is nothing but R1, 2 vector by R1, 2 vector mod. It is you have studied in your 11th or plus 1 science, this formula, vector chapter in 11th. Okay. So, similarly, what is the force experienced by charge Q2 due to Q1? What I will write? F21 vector equal to K, Q1, Q2 by R21 vector square into R12 mod. Anyhow, this is mod. Square you are taking, no? It is magnitude. This only you need to take care. Now here one important concept I will tell. There is lots of confusion about this vector representation. In CBSE textbook also, in some state board also. I will tell you in simple way how to understand. If there will be only two possible cases. Either both the charges will be of same or opposite or not. Same means both may be positive, both may be negative. If they both are same, then what will happen? There will be a repulsive in nature. In such a case, F21 you are writing, here also it will be same F21. F12, the vector is F12, R12. Remember, this I can show the proof in terms of numericals. Now coming to, if you are writing F12 vector equal to K, Q1, Q2 by R12 square. Now here instead of 1, 2 you are writing R21 vector. It is applicable for opposite forces. Similarly, F21 vector equal to K, Q1, Q2 by R21 square, R12 cap. See, this denominator part is immaterial. Whether you write 1, 2 or 2, 1, it does not matter. Because after all, you are going to take mod of it. Only the important part is this, related to this. So, this last two, it is applicable for opposite forces. Give attention here. This first two case, it is applicable for same charge. Same Q or same charge. This is applicable for opposite charge. And remember, when I am saying R12, what it is mean? It is meaning is that nothing but the vector R1 minus R2. See here, suppose you want what is the force experience, the vector, not force, vector, from this 1 to 2. So what I will write? 1 to 2 is nothing but R21 from this 1 to 2, no? So from final to initial, so R2 minus R1. Clear? Similarly, what is the force, the vector, position vector, this point with respect to this is nothing but R12. R12 is nothing but R1 minus R2. So hence I have written R12 is R1 minus R2. Similarly, R21 equal to R2 vector minus R1 vector. Clear? In my next video, I will upload about numericals related to it, so that you will get very good clarity how the way you need to approach. Clear about? Now let us see the next important concept, that is principle of superposition. Even you can say it as multiple charges. In CBSE textbook it is given as multiple charges. In state board books it is given as principle of superposition. Okay, but inside the CBSE textbook it is mentioned that it is called as principle of superposition. Both concept is same. Let us see. Make the heading Principle of superposition. Principle of superposition. Now see, in case of Coulomb's law, we are studying about 2-point charges. Now my question is, if there are many number of charges or multiple charges, in such a case, how much is the force experienced by a single charge due to the all remaining charges? That is nothing but your superposition theorem. Clear? Huh? I'll show you in terms of diagram. Imagine this is your charge Q1. Now I am keeping charges here Q2, here Q3. I want to know how much is the force experienced by this charge Q1 due to charge Q2 and Q3. So let the position vector of this be R2, this be R1, this be R3. With respect to origin, you can take a reference. Okay. So this is your Q1. So force experienced by charge 1. So hence I am writing F1. This is nothing but the force experienced by charge 1 due to charge 2. What I will write? F12. Similarly, the force experienced by charge 1 due to charge 3. What I will write it as? F13 vector. Now what is F12 vector? Is nothing but K Q1 Q2 by. What is this vector? If you just extend it, what it will give you? Your force F12 vector with vector R12. So we'll write it as R12 square, R12 cap. Correct. Similarly, what is F13? K Q1 Q3 by. Let it be. This is your. So what it will give you? R13 square, R13 cap. Clear? So what is the net force? Is nothing but you want your F1 with respect to R1 position or not? You want with reference to this position, what is the force experience at this point due to this charge? So this is nothing but your F1. You can apply your parallelogram law of forces. Clear? So here what we can do, my F1 force equal to, I have written here F12 plus F13. Imagine there are n number of forces. So what I will do? I will just extend it up to F1n. Clear? So similarly this expression also what I will do? I will extend it as K. See, Q1 is common here. Can I take Q1 common? So what I will write? Q2 by R12 square, R12 cap, plus Q3 by R12 square, R13 square, R13 cap, plus dot 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 dot. What I will write? Qn by R1n square, R1n cap. Clear? Now can I summation it? So what it will give you? Q I divided by, see here I, here also I. R1I square, R1I cap, where I starts from 2 or not. So I2 to n. This is your F1. So what you are concluding from this? You can take the snapshot. Clear? Now see. What will be the statement of the superposition theorem? The net force experienced by a single charge due to the presence of all other charges is nothing but the vector sum of all the forces on that charge due to the other charges. Clear? Let us see the statement of it. What is your superposition theorem statement? So what I will write? The statement. Make the heading. Statement. It is the force experienced by a single charge due to the presence of other charges due to the presence of other charges is the vector sum of the forces experienced due to all other charges on it. It is due to force experienced due to all other charges on it. Clear? This is nothing but your principle of superposition. This is nothing but vector addition of all the forces. I can say it simple. Clear? Now let us see the next concept, that is your electric field. Important thing, what it is? Electric field. See, what is electric field is nothing but it is the force experienced by a unit positive charge at that point. What is electric field? E equal to, we'll write E equal to F by Q. Electric field is a vector, so always mention it as n cap. Electric field is a vector. It is always associated with a direction along with the magnitude. So hence mention E equal to F by Q. So what is the definition? It is the force experienced. It is the force experienced by a unit positive charge at that point. So F by Q, F unit is Newton, charge is Coulomb. So what is your unit of electric field? Newton per Coulomb. Also you know E equal to, what is the force? K Q, Q by R square. This is already 1 by Q. We know F equal to Q1, Q2. I am considering two different charges. So caps Q, small q. Now this Q get cancelled. So E also KQ by R square. N cap. Clear? Now one more important thing is, suppose there is a positive charge. You will find that it will always, its field will be always radially outward for positive charge. Similarly, if it is a negative charge, the electric field lines, or even you can say it as a lines of force, that will be always inward. That is practically experimented. Positive charge, the electric lines of force radially outward. Negative charges, the electric lines of force is inward. That's what. Now let us see what is the properties of these electric lines of force. Make a note of it. Electric lines of force. The important properties. Always it used to ask in board exam for 3 mark. Okay. So let us see what is the properties. Make the heading electric lines of force properties. For example, there is a positive charge, there is a negative charge. It will always start from positive and ends at negative. So that is the first important point. So what is your first important point? It starts from positive and ends at negative. Now question will arise, if there is a isolated charge, what will happen? Suppose it is a positive charge, it will end at infinity. Suppose there is a negative charge, It will start from infinity, it will end here. Now understood? In the same point you can mention. If it is a single isolated positive charge, it will end at infinity. If it is an isolated negative charge, it will start from infinity and end at this point. Clear? Second important properties. They never form, have you find they are forming any closed loop? They never form closed loops. Second, they never forms closed loops. Magnetic lines of force always forms the closed loops. But electric lines of force, they never form the closed loop. That is second important property. Coming to third one. You cannot find lines of force will intersect each other. Why they will not intersect each other? If they intersect each other, just imagine for a moment, then if you draw the tangent, they will show two different directions, which is impossible. So hence, two lines of force will not intersect each other. It is applicable not only to electric lines of force, but also it is applicable to magnetic lines of force. So, two lines of force never intersect each other. Never intersect each other. Clear? Now, for example, there is a charge here. You can find some case, there will be some 4 lines they show. Some case they will show some 8 lines. What does it indicate? Higher the number of lines of force, stronger the electric field. Or lesser the number of lines of force, weaker the electric field. Simple. So your fourth point is, more the number of lines of force, more the number of lines of force, I am writing LOF, lines of force, stronger is the electric field. Stronger is the electric field, or vice versa. So these are the properties of the electric lines of force, which is highly important. Okay children, if you have any suggestions, post it in the comment box. Otherwise, if you want expected any video for your coming exam or anything, then mention it. If you like my video, give like. Otherwise, share among your friends and relatives so that they will get benefit of it. खुश रहो, मस्त रहो और आनंद से पढ़ाई करते रहो. टेक केयर बच्चों. टाटा बाय.